speaking of disconnected, so there's a guy by the name of Josh Hawley. You may have heard of him, senator from Missouri.
Yes.
And it is Missouri, right? He's from Missouri.
Missouri,
okay.
yeah.
Anyway, so he went on Tucker Carlson's show. He's doing his, like, I'm the right-wing populist guy tap dance thing that he does.
Yeah.
Let's watch the video and then I'll react.
Well, I think that's because the liberal culture, what the message to young people is, the most you can aspire to in life is to be a consumer who sits in a cubicle in front of a computer all day and doesn't ask any questions and doesn't do anything meaningful with your life. And what we need to say to young men and young women, too, is just the opposite. Aspire to be something more than a consumer. And for young men, aspire to be something more than a consumer pornography. Aspire to actually create something in your life, like create a family, for instance. That is the single greatest act of rebellion, if you like, against the liberal culture that is suppressing people's desires, that is suppressing their potential, is to go out and actually engage in real relationships, get married, have a family, have kids, have your own ideas, and be a responsible member of society. I mean, this is what people are built to do. And again, it's what young people want to do. They want to be challenged in this way.
So first of all, like, getting married is not counterculture. It's still like most people
mainstream culture.
Yeah, that's mainstream culture. Now, by the way, that's not a strike against it or anything. That's just describing what is. I don't care about what's counterculture or mainstream culture, this or that. None of that is relevant to me. Why does that conversation matter at all?
You don't think we're rebelling against liberal culture by getting married this year, babe?
I don't even know how to answer that. No, we're not rebelling against anybody. We're just doing what we want to do. But that's sort of my point. Is like, shut the fuck up. You're a senator. Why are you talking about this sort of shit?
Right.
And I think he's doing like a cheap Jordan Peterson impression there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he saw the rise in popularity of Jordan Peterson.
Totally.
And Jordan Peterson is definitely better at sophistry than this goon is. And he goes out there and he does his 2-bit impression. And it's screechy. And I love, did you see what it said on the bottom of the screen?
I saw a few things.
It said something about like America needs to address its porn addiction.
Porn addiction,
and then he had a tweet along with what he said here. Rebel against liberal culture, quit porn, start a real relationship, start a family, have your own ideas, and stand up for them.
There's actually a lot to say about this clip because Tucker and Josh Hawley and others have identified that you have this, you do have a crisis where you have a lot of like boys and men who feel lost, they feel disaffected. You have the rise of the manosphere. And this is a very like hot and viral topic online. So they're tapping into that in a way that ends up being very sort of reactionary. And I do think that there is a need for a different version of Jordan Peterson-ism that's actually like more beneficial and looks more at society as a whole. And the lie that is undergirding what he's saying in this sort of right-wing populist version of the argument that he's making here is, to your point about like, what business do you as a U.S. Senator have delving into any of this? None of this is about, hey, as a society, this is how we've made it really difficult for people to be able to succeed where they feel like they can get married. This is why we've made it really difficult for people to have like purpose and meaning in their life, have a job with a like solid wage where they can be able to afford a house. This is how we've made things so unaffordable and made lives so precarious that people are, moving to these, to get themselves through. They're moving to habits that are, maybe not in their best long-term interest. Instead, the conservative version of that is just to basically push it on the individual and say, you do better. And it's like, no, you're a United States Senator. You're in a position to push forward policy that would, as a society, make us healthier, enable people to make, to have more choices in their life. But he's not interested in that whatsoever.
I don't want politicians involved in private lives at all, in any way, shape, or form. None of your business. Get the fuck out. I would be just as against if there was some, and this wouldn't happen, but if there was some, Democratic socialist politician in fucking Portland who's like, nobody should get married, I'd be just as annoyed.
Yeah,
because it's like,
silly.
Hey, mind your fucking business, Dippy. You're a politician. Why don't you go raise the minimum wage? Why don't you go, pass some law which increases unionization? Do anything to help people materially in terms of our private lives, in terms of, drugs, marriage, fill in the blank with whatever, abortion. It's like, stay the fuck away. Stay out of our lives.
Let me give you a perfect example of how full of shit people like Josh Hawley are ultimately on this. I mean, Democrats passed an expanded child tax credit that was a game changer for families, a game changer for children, massively reduced childhood poverty. And Republicans Democrats let it die, and Republicans basically were complicit in killing it, have no interest in partnering with them on something like that. If you really care about family, if you care about people being able to get married and afford to raise their kids and creating these like wholesome environments, that's a policy position that you could take that would be overwhelmingly beneficial to people versus just like wagging your finger and being like, get off porn and have some babies and get married.
Yeah, they're against paid maternity leave, paid paternity leave, paid sick leave, paid vacation time, better overtime rules to increase pay if people work. He's against all of that shit. Sometimes he virtue signals like he's in favor of it, but fundamentally, in terms of his voting record, he's not in favor of it. He was against raising the minimum wage, for example. If he was really all about helping people out economically, support the PRO Act, right?
Yeah, because, the reality is it's not like millennials and Gen Z just like don't want to settle down or don't want to buy a house. It's that they can't afford to. So, focus on that area. Make it so that people can buy into that, be able to buy that house, be able to have that life that a lot of people do aspire to and are just literally priced out of right now.
And I'm so triggered by this war on porn that they're waging.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking triggering.
Mike Lee, was he the one that introduced the bill to like ban
that would effectively ban porn online? And that triggers me so much because these guys pretend like they're in favor of freedom. And this is like being able to jack off in the comfort of your own home. And they effectively want to take away the easy ability to do that. And they have the nerve to pretend like they're in favor of freedom.
Yeah.
And the idea, like, I don't buy that it's some sort of societal scourge. I buy it like, somebody wants to jack off. They boost their serotonin levels for 7 minutes, and then they go about their day. Like, maybe there's a tiny percentage of the population that, like, their life is ruined because they can't stop watching porn, But, like, seriously, what percentage are we talking about here?
Yeah, this is also one of those issues that could be a bit of a tell. Like, Kanye West talks about this, too.
He's got
because
issues.
he has talked about having a porn addiction. So I wonder if it's another one where it's like, the people who are, like, the most virulently anti-gay, oftentimes it turns out that they're struggling with their own sexuality.
Right, yeah.
I wonder if there isn't a bit of a tell here as well.
Yeah, so look, my final point, I can't stand, it's one thing if it's a non-politician who's giving people like life advice and they're doing like the self-help guru stuff, and it's like, you can like it or dislike it, whatever, it's fine. But when you are a politician, I don't want to hear shit from you about how people should live their private lives at all.
Yes.
I don't want to hear shit. I don't want you to, this is the roadmap. No, the roadmap to improve people's lives is to improve their lives economically, which is something you have direct control over. Give them total social freedom, and economically make it a more fair playing ground, Make it so that the floor is in a reasonable spot and people aren't screwed over from the beginning. Make it so that if they're running a 100-yard dash, they're not starting at the negative 40-yard line as Mitt Romney's son is at the 85-yard line.
Right.
Like, that's what we want you to do. Shut the fuck up about anything involving our private lives. It's so authoritarian to me, and that's why I despise it.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so, all right, guys, now we'll go ahead and welcome in our guests, Matt Binder, to talk to us everything crypto, Elon Musk, Twitter, and more. If you want to see me and Krystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Krystal, Kyle, and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.